Welcome. Welcome to Serving the Valley, a Cedar Falls television production that gets you up close and personal. Get a little bit of a touch of what makes this part of Iowa a great place to call home. I'm Roy Justice. Welcome to today's program. And today, I'm not sure how we're going to narrow down all that we have to cover when we talk about the Volunteer Center of the Cedar Valley. And Lauren Fink's going to help us narrow some of that down. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you very much for having me, Roy.
I have gone through the notes. I have not let you see my notes. I figure if we can get this done in 6 hours, we'll be in good shape.
Sounds like a plan.
I don't know about your ticket out at the parking meter. I'm going to give you an opportunity, I hope, to explain to me in the time that we have. And we don't have hours, we actually have minutes. So stop talking, Roy, and get rolling along with Lauren. There is so much to cover when we talk about volunteerism. I'm not sure exactly how a person judges what they're worth, but my guess is your worth is what you think your time is worth in some regards. And I can't think of a better opportunity than to do something for others, which usually does something for yourself as well. If you were to define what volunteerism is about, test question number one, how would you narrow that down?
It is a difficult thing to talk about because I think a lot of times people want to get involved and they choose to volunteer because they're hoping to make a change in the community, make a difference, help people out. But in actuality, a lot of times people who are volunteering end up getting a really good end of that as well. They get a lot of really great benefits for volunteering, and so it's really two-sided.
Well, there's a lot of sides that play out, particularly during the month of April, and I realize sometimes the program that people are seeing now is not just in the month of April, but a lot happens in the month of April. It's the volunteer month. So some of those examples of what happens during the month of April, lots of awards, lots of activity, lots of communication taking place about those who have done volunteerism here in the Cedar Valley.
Springtime's a good time to do that, right? It's kind of a fresh, the flowers are starting to come up. It feels like a really good time to start promoting and recognizing what the great people are doing in our community.
So some of those great things that people are doing in the community, without going into the names of those great people, what in the dickens are some of the things that are taking place?
So first of all, we have our Mayor's Volunteer Awards that we hold annually every year. And that is in part with the City of Cedar Falls, the Mayor's Office in Waterloo, as well as in Evansdale. And then the Cedar Valley Chamber Ambassadors assist us with that as well. And so it's a really great, unique time to honor individuals and small groups of people who are doing really great things in our community. We also are accepting Governor's Volunteer Awards as well as the state of Iowa. And so the Volunteer Center is just a stopping point for promoting that information here in the Cedar Valley community. But the cool thing about the Governor's Volunteer Awards, as those nominations are being accepted, the awards ceremony will actually happen here in the Cedar Valley community come this summer. And so what a great way to be able to not only, recognize what a volunteer is doing, but the governor will be coming to our community to provide a recognition time for those volunteers as well. So recognition is kind of the key component of the month of April, but we've got a lot of other really great things happening as it relates to Global Youth Service Day, National Volunteer Week, as you alluded to. There's lots of good stuff. We've got days of service planned. The list goes on and on.
It's a good thing it does because we still have a few more minutes to fill. Let's talk about the youth.
Yes.
The youth in this community. What a great way to get them involved, because then it carries on to when you get to, gray hairs like me, and in retirement, you're looking for a way to get involved or stay involved. So in the youth activities that occur, be a little more specific about what kind of activities they may be.
Sure. Well, Roy, at the Volunteer Center of Cedar Valley, we actually have a youth program coordinator who really leads and supports getting youth involved in creating change in our community. It's all about getting out there, kind of defining what some areas of interest and issues are in our community, and then they go out there and make a difference through the acts of service. But on the flip side of that, we also like to get our youth connected to days of service activities. And one of those is Global Youth Service Day, which happens annually right at the tail end of National Volunteer Week. And the idea behind that is that youth have the opportunity, a few days actually, to get involved in service projects, create their own plans, and make change in their communities. So our youth here in our community are actually taking part in 2 different activities. The first is that the Volunteer Center is hosting a day of service activity for elementary age youth to come and participate in. And then the second activity is that youth are going to get involved with a cleanup that are part of our Youth Action Council at the Volunteer Center. So they're going to do a community-wide outdoor cleanup.
Before we get too far into the program, somebody out there, not necessarily youth, but somebody out there may be saying, well, you know, I've been thinking about maybe getting involved in something, but I don't know what that something might be. There's a way for people to get ideas of what they may be interested in. Shop around, if you will, for some of the opportunities. Who do they contact? Where do they contact? What's the information in that regard?
Well, the great thing about the Volunteer Center is that we partner with 157 different nonprofit organizations throughout the Cedar Valley community, right?
Really?
There's a lot. And the other really great thing is that all of our nonprofit partners have the ability to post their volunteer opportunities directly to our website. And so you can go on there 24/7. Yes, I think our website's on the screen right now. You can go on there 24/7 and take a look and shop around for those opportunities that really impact you or make you want to get out there and create change and make a difference in the community. In addition to that, we're always promoting volunteer opportunities in other outlets. So in the local newspapers, sometimes you hear opportunities posted on the radio, on different local media websites as well as social media. So we like to hit a lot of different areas in order to get people connected. And of course, people can always call our office or stop by. We're in the Kimball Ridge Center in the Old Schweitz Hospital in Waterloo, and they can come and talk to us about different opportunities, and we'll help them find where their passions may lie.
The whole opportunity thing, the whole volunteer, the national, actually even international, there are opportunities internationally for volunteers as well, are there not?
There are. We don't do a lot in our office itself, I mean, with matching people with those, because we strictly stick to Black Hawk County. However, we do promote the concept of getting out there and getting involved in international as well as other national experiences. And so when we hear of things, every once in a while, we might plug it into a newsletter or share it with a group or an individual that has expressed interest in those things. But there are a lot of websites out there and other organizations that can help facilitate those more national and international experiences.
We're talking about hundreds, maybe thousands when we talk about locally, but actually stretch that over what agencies are doing nationwide, and then, as I just mentioned, internationally. We're talking about touching millions of lives. And those are just those volunteering, not to mention those that are being serviced by the volunteers themselves.
Yeah, we definitely know here in our local community, we've got a lot of people, hundreds of thousands getting connected here in the state of Iowa to service experiences. But nationally, they say 1 in every 4 Americans are out there volunteering and doing really great things in their communities. And so that's really something to be proud of.
Let's talk about the top youth. The goals that are set with, as an example, the Mayor's Youth Award and so forth. That then stretches beyond that to where those youth may go out and form opportunities for other youth. The word spreads.
It sure does, and we see that actually with the Volunteer Center's Youth Action Council, which is a group of young, exciting children who are looking to get involved all the way from middle school through high school. They get together about twice a month and really plan different projects and volunteer opportunities and ways that they can make a difference in the community. And it's amazing to see how those youth that are participating in those activities then bring their friends on board with the service projects that they're doing, and you can see that wildfire just spread. And our Youth Action Council, in the 3 short years it's been established in our community, had started at 6 members and is now up to 16 or 17. And so we know that more and more people want to get involved and find unique and innovative ways to give back, and this is just another outlet. Allows them to be creative.
Another example, I'm sure, of how happy employees become more productive employees as well.
Definitely.
Lauren Fink is joining us, and we're talking about volunteerism. And we've only gotten through, the first 2.5 or 3 hours worth of my notes. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Want to get involved in volunteering in the Cedar Valley? The Volunteer Center of Cedar Valley will connect you with opportunities from over 150 organizations in Black Hawk County. We are the resource and coordination center for youth and adults, individuals and groups, employers and employees, and all other community partnerships. Discover and sign up for opportunities via the online database at www.vccv.org. For more information, email information@vccv.org or call 319-272-2087. Volunteer Center of Cedar Valley, connecting community, changing lives.
We're here in the Cedar Valley, and we're talking about volunteerism today. Lauren Fink has joined me. Otherwise, I'd be talking to myself, and that wouldn't be very interesting at all. In the Cedar Valley, do you have any idea in numbers how many volunteers we're talking about?
Well, at the Volunteer Center of Cedar Valley last year, we connected just over 9,000 individuals with various opportunities, whether that be through the youth programs that we offer, all the way through just our general volunteer connecting with the 157 different organizations that we work with.
Okay, 157 different organizations. Is there a training process that goes on to help people know how to go about doing this?
Well, actually, we work with the agencies that we partner alongside and provide a variety of ways for them to get continuing education and learn how to manage volunteers effectively. And we do it in a variety of ways. We offer an every other month just a lunch and learn training where we talk about some of those hot topics as it relates to volunteerism.
Okay.
So volunteer coordinators, people who work with volunteers are able to attend those sessions and learn just a little bit more about how to really manage their volunteers effectively. We know that volunteers that are coming to organizations that aren't managed the proper ways or through the proper outlets are probably not going to come back if they don't have good experiences. It's customer service, right? We, in addition to that, have just recently over the last 2 years really gotten involved in this concept called service enterprise. And we have had a handful of organizations, local organizations, go through this extensive training. It is 16 hours of training that these organizations participate in, as well as 10 coaching hours to get them through this certification process. And we have had 2 organizations in our community certify as of today, and we've got 2 more on the schedule coming up over the course of the next 2 weeks to get through the certification process. So it's really exciting to see that they're creating change within their organizations to recognize the fact that volunteers aren't just volunteer managers' responsibilities. It becomes the entire staff of the organization's role to work effectively with volunteers in order to create the most impact and mission-driven statements that they can in the community.
Is that where, and I picked this up out of, I think it was an article I read, maybe even online, that the Black Hawk County Extension had just
They just certified just a few weeks ago. And in addition to that, we've had Care Initiatives Hospice here in our community. And on the docket, we've got Heartland Habitat for Humanity coming up, as well as the Cedar Valley Arboretum and Cedar Valley Friends of the Family. So we've got a couple good organizations that are really moving through this process, this change management process for their organizations.
One more time, I want to go back, not one more time, because we'll probably do it 2 more times. Somebody out there at this moment is looking at this and saying, again, in the back of their mind, they've been looking for an opportunity to be of service, if you will. The contact again. How do they go about even trying to develop what direction they may want to go?
We can do it in a variety of ways. One of the easiest is to pick up the phone and have a conversation with myself or any of the staff people that answer the phone, and just talk about where their interests may lie, or if they have a particular organization, or if they want to work with individuals, or if they would rather be working outside individually or in groups. Just have that conversation to kind of figure out that initial direction that that person wants to go in. And from that, we can start facilitating those matches and talk about what the availability for opportunities are. In addition to that, I know I mentioned our website is another really great resource. On the website, there are hundreds of available volunteer opportunities. However, what I will say about our website is it's only as good as the information we put on there, right? So if you find an organization that you are interested in and they don't have enough opportunities or an opportunity that is of particular interest to you, don't hesitate still to reach out to that volunteer coordinator or that volunteer manager and talk to them about what might be out there and what might be available, because they very well probably have the need. They just haven't taken the time to either create those position descriptions or get things posted online.
Okay, have we talked about the Give Back Iowa Challenge?
I don't think we have yet.
Let's talk about the
Okay.
Give Back Iowa
Yeah,
Challenge.
this is exciting. Give Back Iowa actually comes from the Governor's Office and Volunteer Iowa, which is the Iowa Commission on Volunteer Services office located in Des Moines. And the big concept behind Give Back Iowa is that we know that there are a lot of really great benefits for having employees involved in volunteer opportunities and service experiences. Just to name a few, there's a lot of health benefits just getting involved in volunteerism, but that translates to the fact that people are at work more often because they're not home ill. They have a better interest or are a little bit more interested in their employer and the work that they're doing because their employee is giving them opportunities to get connected to service experiences and giving them some of that potential paid volunteer time or even not paid volunteer time, but the opportunity to get involved. And so Give Back Iowa comes from that. And really, it is a friendly competition amongst businesses all across the state of Iowa. Registration is still open for that. It stretches from, I believe, the 1st of April all the way through the end of May. And businesses are vying for the chance to have the governor come visit them at their place of work and celebrate volunteerism. And this is the 3rd or 4th year the state's been doing it, and it continues to grow on an annual basis.
A moment ago, I saw some kids. They weren't right here. They were on your set. They were listening to us. What were they doing? What are they doing?
This is Jean Sealand, who is the Volunteer Center's Youth Program Coordinator. Jean is out and about in the community, in schools, after-school programs, leading our various Youth Day of Service, and she also works with our Youth Action Council. And Jean is sitting here talking to these young students about how to create change through the act of service. And they are talking a lot about, in fact, I think this is the group that wanted to do an activity with Black Hawk County Rehabilitation, and they decided that they were going to do penny wars or dime wars within their school to come up with enough funds to provide assistance to chipmunks that needed rehabilitated through Black Hawk County Wildlife here in the community. So it cost $10 to do that, and it's pretty cool to see that. So.
You never know where an idea may come from,
Right.
sometimes out of the mouth of youth as well.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, so the salute is given during the month of April with all kinds of awards, some stretching into the summer months as well. And then there are opportunities that agencies or companies can get registered to get involved in the volunteer program. Same information as far as where they get that information?
They can come to us and we'll help direct them to where they need to go, whether it be for the Give Back Iowa Challenge or Governor's Volunteer Awards. We can help facilitate those connections too.
Well, I've gotten through about half of my list of questions, but the clock is running. Is there an area that, gosh, I wish Roy would have asked me about that I didn't ask you about?
Well, I think the biggest thing, we've talked about it a few times, but just to drive home that people can contact us in a variety of ways to find those volunteer opportunities. If you're not comfortable with using the internet, you don't want to jump on a website or email the office, you can certainly give us a phone call, stop by our office, check out the weekly newspaper. We run a listing in there every week, and there's a variety of ways to find out what's happening in the world of volunteerism.
There certainly is, and perhaps we've touched on that a bit enough today for you to get excited about being a volunteer. You can check us out on Facebook. Channel 15, Cedar Falls TV, is where you're watching this program. You can watch our shows, you can make comments, you can make program suggestions, as someone did when they said, you ought to talk to Lauren about volunteerism, and so we have. Until our next story unfolds, Lauren, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Roy.
Another edition of Serving the Cedar Valley. Thank you for joining us. I'm Roy Justice.